All right, listen up everyone. Welcome to this Code Ninja Security Advisory. Consider this your real-time coordinated vulnerability disclosure briefing. We are tracking a very active, absolutely critical threat vector right now, targeting Adobe Experience Manager Forms JEE. Specifically, we're dealing with CVE 2026-34694. This is a nasty vulnerability that essentially allows high-privileged attackers to embed malicious code deep within your infrastructure. As defenders, our job is to lock down the perimeter before the adversaries scale up their operations. This explainer is designed for immediate threat triage, so let's get right into the intel.
Here is the battle plan for today's briefing, optimized for rapid defense. 1. The zero-day disclosure. 2. Secure comms check. 3. Analyzing the blast radius. 4. Protocol, patch and mitigate. And 5. Disclosure ethics and sign-off.
Okay, let's dive right into Section 1, the zero-day disclosure, tracing the threat.
Let's look at how fast this escalated. On June 9, 2026, Adobe formally submits CVE 2026-34694 to the National Vulnerability Database. That very same day, the NVD and the Debugs Vulnerability Database published their records. Boom, the clock is now ticking publicly. Literally just 48 hours later, on June 11th, NIST conducts its initial analysis, and Sentinel-1 drops a comprehensive technical advisory detailing the attack vectors. Think about that. The defensive window shrank drastically in just 2 days. Because once those technical details are out in the wild, adversaries are already automating their exploitation scripts. It spreads like wildfire.
Now you might be wondering why we push this information out so fast. Well, we practice coordinated vulnerability disclosure for one vital reason. This disclosure is meant to provide immediate mitigation or force a vendor patch. We don't hide these flaws. We drag them out into the light so you can armor up your perimeter.
Let's briefly pause for Section 2. Secure comms check, establishing the link. Treat these next steps as mandatory security protocols for your operations. Step 1. Subscribe to @cybertech79 right now to ensure you're getting real-time zero-day alerts. Step 2. Enable your notifications so you don't miss a critical deployment window. And Step 3. Leave a like on this briefing as your formal ACK, your acknowledgement of receipt. This just confirms our comms link is active and you've got the intel required to defend your network.
All right, back to the data. Section 3. Analyzing the blast radius. Let's really understand CVE 2026-364694.
So the crucial point here is understanding the root cause. This flaw is classified as CWE79, improper neutralization of input during web page generation. In plain English, it's a stored cross-site scripting flaw inside Adobe Experience Manager Forms JE. The application is basically accepting attacker-controlled content into form fields without properly encoding the output or sanitizing the input. And guys, this isn't just a simple malicious link you click on. The payload is physically persisted, actually stored on your server-side repository, just waiting there like a hidden landmine for a legitimate victim to browse the compromised page.
Now what's really interesting here is the risk scoring discrepancy. Adobe assigned this a CVSS base score of 5.9, while NIST rated it slightly lower at 4.8. But listen, do not let that medium severity label lull you into a false sense of security. The absolute critical element both sources agree on here is changed scope. What does that mean? It means the execution of the malicious script in a victim's browser can actually compromise resources and authenticated sessions for other applications served on related origins. The impact extends way beyond just the immediately vulnerable AEM component.
System administrators pay very close attention to these exposed versions. This is your immediate blast radius, and you need to check your deployments right now. If you are running Adobe Experience Manager Forms JEE LTS SP1, or versions up to and including 6.5.24.0, and those forms are exposed to end users, you are absolutely in the crosshairs. Go verify your build versions through the AEM admin console the second this briefing is over.
Let's map out exactly how this builds into a complete attack chain. Notice the prerequisites here. Yes, this is network-based, but the attacker needs to start with high privileges, meaning they already hold an authoring or administrative role. They take that access and use it to inject crafted HTML or JavaScript into a form field. That payload persists silently in your AEM backend. Then, later on, a legitimate user, our victim, loads that rendered form. Boom, the malicious JavaScript executes right in their browser context, potentially exfiltrating tokens or compromising their authenticated sessions straight across trust boundaries.
Which brings us to Section 4, Protocol, Patch and Mitigate, Securing the Perimeter.
These steps are your absolute imperatives.
First and foremost, apply the updates detailed in Adobe Security Advisory APSB26-57 immediately. Validate it in staging, then push it straight to production. But if you're in a spot where you cannot patch today, you must deploy these emergency workarounds. Enforce a strict Content Security Policy, or CSP, on your AEM rendered pages to outright block inline script execution. Restrict your high-privileged AEM authoring roles down to the bare minimum personnel and mandate multi-factor authentication. Finally, implement reverse proxy filtering to enforce output encoding at the rendering layer. You literally have to cut off the attacker's ability to execute that script.
And this brilliantly illustrates the assume breach mentality. Even if you patch today, you have to hunt for indicators of compromise from yesterday. Your network might already be harboring a persistent payload. You must audit your AEM Forms JEE logs for unexpected edits by authoring accounts outside of normal change windows. Go scan your content repositories, specifically for stored HTML tags or JavaScript URIs. Keep an eye out for anomalous outbound browser requests to attacker-controlled domains, and set up alerts for any sudden creation of high-privileged accounts or privilege escalations within AEM. Find the persistence before it finds a victim.
Wrapping up with Section 5, Disclosure, Ethics, and Sign-Off, the White Hat Code.
Users need to know to protect their systems. That right there is the white hat code. It's the entire reason coordinated vulnerability disclosure exists. By detailing the threat, analyzing the blast radius, and forcing vendor fixes into the light, we strip the adversary of their asymmetric advantage. We empower you to secure your own infrastructure.
And that concludes this Code Ninja Security Advisory on APSB26-57. Get those patches deployed and get your logs audited. But before I sign off, I want to leave you with one final, sobering thought. If a high-privileged account on your network was quietly compromised yesterday and they planted a stored XSS payload, would your logs even show it today? Stay secure.